GoPro launching their new Mission 1 series, which they are saying is a compact cinematic camera system, and I think they're going to struggle. Looking at what they have just here, they've got two cameras, which are the Mission 1 and Mission 1 Pro, which have sort of their wide-angle classic GoPro, you know, that's what it would do. It's that kind of camera. Granted, they are seeming to be improving like dynamic range, the color science, all of this sort of stuff. Is it going to be enough to actually compete in the market that they find themselves in now, and who is going to be buying those cameras? It has a load of other things that are very GoPro feeling, like the media mod and a couple of grips that you can buy. And then you've got the ILS system. Now that is an interchangeable lens, and it's a micro four thirds mount. For a long time, a lot of people have dabbled in modifying their GoPros and other action cameras to take like C-mount lenses, for example. And for me, the one that jumps out is when Van Neistat modded his GoPro, Casey Neistat's brother, and he had this thought that he got the GoPro and he loves it for being able to just capture stuff and point it at things and just grab things as it's going along, and you know, but it's wide angle and he wanted to be able to get in a little bit closer. If he could just get in a little bit closer, it'd be great. It'd be the perfect camera for doing that. Goes through the build process, gets to the point where he's got this camera modded with the lens on and everything. And of course, as soon as you do that, focus becomes an issue. So now he's trying to focus on this tiny little camera with a tiny little screen, and it isn't ideal for that thing, and there are all kinds of drawbacks to that. And he kind of parcels that up and talks about it, and it's a whole thing in the video. And now we're at a point where we have a GoPro that is designed off the bat to take the micro four thirds mount. It's not got any contacts that I can see on there. The contacts are going to allow for autofocus on lens, on the micro four thirds lens. Doesn't have that. I'm kind of looking at it and going, I can't autofocus on that camera, which means I've got to focus on the back, which isn't necessarily a problem if I'm doing, say, a vehicle rig, because I might be setting the focus, getting it locked, and then that's just doing that thing, going around, and then it comes back and move it somewhere else and change the focus again. But it does mean that, say, with this lens, for example, I have fly-by-wire. You know, I don't have control of the aperture on this. There is no ring. So if I put this lens onto that camera, I cannot control the aperture. If I put this lens onto that camera, I cannot use the optical image stabilization, because that all comes through the electronic contacts on the back of the lens. Even the focusing on this lens, I think without the electronic contacts, I won't be able to actually focus it. And that is true for a lot of micro four thirds lenses. Now, it's not the end of the world, but it does mean that when I'm looking at maybe getting that set up, I'm looking at all of my micro four thirds lenses and going, I can't, I think, use these on that camera in any meaningful way. You've got to have a manual lens, fully manual lens, manual aperture, manual focus, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. You know, you get better feel for it. It'll probably retain its focus a little bit better as well. If the camera powers off, it won't lose all of the focus points, and it's nicer to focus with a proper focusing ring rather than the fly-by-wire stuff that's in these lenses. I really hate it. But it does mean that even people who have micro four thirds cameras and lenses, they look at this and they go, I can't actually port over my setup to this camera. So I've got to go out and I've got to get dedicated lenses. Also, this is basically a micro four thirds sensor inside here. That is a 1-inch sensor, and that means that even though this is a pretty wide lens, you know, it goes up to 12, down to 12, on that camera, it's not going to be super wide. It's going to be a pretty tight view on 12. So maybe you're looking at maybe a 6mm lens or something like that. So even then, I'm having to get specialist lenses to use that camera. So if I was thinking about, you know, I'm just doing vehicle rig stuff and I want to set up vehicle rigs and I want to have 3 or 4 cameras dotted around a car, this could be a viable thing, but I've got to go out and I've got to get that as a dedicated setup for that thing. Or I'm looking at this and I'm going, I am trying to find a vlogging camera. The ILS one probably isn't the one for this, because it's going to be a pain in the neck to focus. If you can't do any kind of autofocus or even center focus with it, you're going to be there holding it out, trying to guesstimate your hyperfocal distance and talking to it like this. You've got a screen on the front, but realistically, trying to focus on that tiny screen, even trying to focus on the back screen, is going to be a huge pain. So I don't think it's for that audience either. That audience probably skews more towards just the Mission 1 Pro or the Mission 1, and that has the wide lens on, you could do the vlogging thing. But even then, those people, it's a hard sell. You have more than likely in your pocket right now a camera on your phone that would be a perfectly decent vlogging camera, and you just need to get a mic system, and there's loads of those, and GoPro actually have their mic system now as well. They're trying to do a whole ecosystem for it, which I applaud, but people already have the phone and the camera. If they're looking at just the wide angle thing, this is waterproof. Granted, you might not take it into the same scenarios if you're going surfing or whatever, or skiing, and you don't want to hold out your phone because it's bigger and it's heavier and you don't want to smash your phone if you fall over. Fair enough. But I think that the pool of people who are actually interested in that is incredibly small now. And there are other options. So even this, look at the Osmo Nano. That might be the better option because it's just smaller. Look at any of the DJI Pocket series. Got Pocket 4 coming out tomorrow. That is probably going to be a more appealing option for people because it's got the gimbal built in and it does a thing and it seems more exciting, and it's DJI, and maybe you have a DJI drone already, so you're trying to keep within the same ecosystem. Even looking at Insta360, and I don't like their whole workflow with Insta360, I've tried it, it's just not for me. There's a certain appeal to it though, and I think that this is going to struggle to land. I'm very curious what everyone thinks. Drop it down in the comments below. Are you going to be getting one? Are you going to test it out? I would love to see one in real life and have a play with it. And you know, like the old pocket cameras, the original pocket cameras that were really genuinely pocket, they had a smaller sensor in, and I loved it. It was great. I still feel nostalgic about that camera, and I still like Blackmagic to have like a dedicated small camera with a screen on the back so you can at least frame up and stuff, and that would fit into my workflow so well. So I can see the appeal of that one, but I think that it's a very niche appeal, and I don't think that it's going to be as easy for it to slot into people's workflows as perhaps GoPro are hoping. Very curious. Gonna see how it works out. Not really in anyone's hands yet, it doesn't seem either. So is this actually gonna ship this year? Are they gonna show it off at NAB and let people get some hands on? Is this going to draw out so long that everyone forgets about it and loses the hype? Seems to have, you know, improved image quality and dynamic range, but you've got to think all of the scenarios they're putting it into are going to be to the benefit of that camera. So yeah, hard sell for GoPro, I'm afraid.